Hello YouTube, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name's Tina and I make videos on lifestyle, home decor, and DIY products every single week. For today's video, I decided to challenge myself and look at a bunch of things in my home that I would usually throw out and try to DIY something out of them. And what's great about each one of these projects is that you don't have to dig through your trash to make any of these. You can easily make these projects with things from the store. So I will definitely have some options linked down below so you can recreate these projects with new items instead of trash. But I just thought that this was such a fun challenge and I was able to create 3 really awesome pieces. I am really in love with one of them. It is plant related, so obviously I love it, but it is something that I've never seen anyone make before. So I hope that you guys really like these. All right, enough of me blabbing. Let's get into the first project. Hello from VoiceOver Tina. This first project is super easy and fun to make, and we're going to start off with an old foam brush. I got a 5-pack of these from Dollar Tree and they wear out after a few uses. So instead of throwing out the whole brush, we are going to take the wooden handle off and use it as a dowel. It's pretty easy to take apart the brush, so give it a good pull, and now that we have that ready, I'm just going to set that aside and work on the base of the scrunchie display. I've had this wooden circle laying around for years and I've never done anything with it, but I thought that this would be perfect to complete my stand. So instead of leaving it as is, I'm going to add some interest to it by using this lightweight spackle from Dollar Tree. And this is really going to add some texture to the base. So first I use a putty knife to spread it evenly onto the base. And as you can see, I was struggling a little bit with this. I quickly realized that using my finger was a better tool. I found that it was quite dry and a bit hard to get onto the wood, so I did as best as I could to get the first layer down. And as I was letting this first layer dry, I figured out why it wasn't sticking. I finally read the directions on the container and it said to mix it up before using it, which I didn't do. And if the spackle was dry and falling off of the knife, to add in a teaspoon of water. So I immediately knew that I should have done this from the beginning, learn from my mistakes, and read the directions before you start anything new to you. After mixing it up, it was a much better texture, and I actually used my palette knife for the second layer. It was so much easier to work with now that the spackle was more wet and had a better consistency. I felt like I was frosting a cake, and it was adhering so much better. Also, I would highly recommend to open a window or even wear a mask while working with this spackle. It has a super strong scent to it, so make sure that you have some good ventilation when you're working with this. The directions say to let it dry for 20 to 30 minutes, but I just let it dry overnight and came back to it the next day. Now to paint it, I'm going for a rusty terracotta color, but after my first coat, it was looking super red, so I just adjusted the color to my liking. You'll notice that I do this a lot in my videos, but it took it about a 3rd try to get to the color that I liked. And you can totally customize this to any color that you want depending on the look you're going for. If you want a more modern look, you can skip the texture step and even use a marble contact paper on top of the wood base, but really it's up to you on how you want this to look. While I let that dry, I'm going to sand my dowel to make sure that it is as smooth as possible and won't snag on any of the scrunchies. And after that, I used a finishing wax on top, but this is totally optional. Now that everything has dried completely, I'm going to find the center of the base and mark it so I know exactly where to place my dowel. And to attach it, I'm going to add some hot glue, and here I'm using the Gorilla Glue hot glue, and I'm holding it down to make sure that it has a good bond to the base. And that's all there is to it. Your piece is complete. I am so happy that all my scrunchies have a home now. This piece is so simple and cute and even looks like real ceramic at the bottom, but it is very lightweight and easy to move around. If you have a lot of scrunchies like I do, I hope that you tried this DIY out. It is so cute and also very functional, and I think you guys will love it. For this next project, I'm using an old glass bottle, and this one is from one of my favorite reed diffusers from Target. I have a few of these laying around my house because they're already pretty cute, so I like to use it in various ways, but I thought that this was perfect to use as a plant propagation container, so here's how I transformed it. First, I'm going to remove the old diffuser reeds and the gold cap on it. To ensure that my paint sticks, I'm using a sanding block to scratch up the surface. Then I'm going to paint it a nice light cream color, and when I'm painting this, I'm going to go in the same direction with all my paint strokes by going up and down. For more even coverage, you can use spray paint for this part, but I'm just using what I have at home. And once I get to the other side of the bottle, I'm going to leave a small rectangle of it unpainted. And my idea with this project is actually to leave a part of it clear so that you could see the roots growing inside your vase. After 2 coats of the paint, I'm going to start my terrazzo pattern, and here you'll see that I'm using gouache paint just because I already had my perfect color palette for this, and I didn't want to mix any new paint colors. But if I were you, I would definitely recommend to do this in acrylic if you don't want to worry about paint dripping or having to seal it afterwards. For my pattern, I'm using a combination of ochre yellow, burnt sienna, peach, dusty pink, and rusty brown, but you can go ahead and use any color palette that you'd like. First, I'm going to go around the vase in one color at a time, and here you'll see that I'm creating organic shapes as our broken ceramic pieces, and these can be pretty imperfect, so don't worry too much about creating the perfect pattern. Once you start adding in each color, the pattern will slowly start to come together. As I'm painting this, you'll see that I'm creating some more triangular shapes and rectangular shapes and oval shapes. You can make this as organic as you'd like it to be and just let loose. Once you painted the entire thing with all of your colors, you want to go back around one more time to fill in the gaps. And my best tip here is just to create some larger shapes and some smaller shapes. Don't be afraid to put them closer together. It was a lot of fun for me to create these little blobs that eventually turned into this beautiful terrazzo pattern. So don't overthink it and have fun with it. And after letting the whole thing dry, this is how it turned out. I think it looks so good. And the next step that you want to do is actually to finish off the clear rectangle. And you'll see that I'm using a gold washi tape to do this. You can also just paint on a border, but I think that the washi tape gives it a really nice finished look. So I took my time here to create the perfect border. To seal it, I'm going to use an acrylic sealant spray, and this spray is in a matte finish, so I made sure to cover the little clear window before spraying it. This is an important step since this piece will most likely get wet all the time, and because I use gouache paint for the pattern, I wanted to make sure that I sealed it all the way. And after that's all dry, I'm going to twist the cap back on, and it's ready for a new plant cutting. This is honestly my new favorite plant container. I think it is so fun to have this beautiful pattern with the vase and the ability to see your roots grow as your plant is growing in the water. The cute little window came out so good, and I absolutely love how this came out, and I can't wait to make more of these. For my last project, I'm using this watercolor paper pad that I have used up. I usually throw these away after using it, but I noticed that this back piece is super thick and sturdy, so I knew that I had to make something with it. First, I'm going to remove the cover so that I only have the back piece to work with. It's a super heavy-duty piece of cardstock, so it's going to be perfect for creating a wall hanging. For my design, I'm going to create the phases of the moon with 5 simple pieces. Using random objects I found around my home, I'm going to trace 1 large circle, 2 medium circles, and 2 small circles. And you can make these in any scale that you'd like, but I found that a candle and soda cans were the perfect size for mine. Now I'm going to create the moon shapes by using the objects and shifting them to the right hand side. I wanted my moon phases to be a little bit thicker, so I'm using a smaller object inside of the initial outline. And for the 2 smallest circles, I'm going to leave that alone to represent a full moon. Now it's time to cut them out, and as always, I would definitely recommend to use an X-Acto knife for this part. You will get a more precise cut without bending the paper, and since this piece is super thick, it took me quite some time to cut them out, so have patience and take it slow with this part. Once all the pieces are cut out, I used a pair of scissors to smooth them out, and I also found that using a sanding block helped out a lot as well. After that, I'm going to paint each piece, and for my center moon piece, I'm using a gold metallic paint. And for the remaining moon phases, I'm just going to go in with a very neutral color palette. Make sure you do 2 coats of paint and let them dry completely before assembling them. To attach them together, I'm going to arrange all the pieces in the design that I'd like, and then I'm just going to use one long piece of twine and hot gluing the backs together. I'm making this hanging a vertical one, but you can totally hang this up horizontally as well. Create a small loop at the top and your hanging is ready to be hung. I've seen similar moon phase wall hangings for sale online before, but I'm so glad that I was able to create my own in a customized color palette for free basically. This piece is cute and trendy and you can totally change this up to fit your own personal style. I love how easy this project was to create and I hope that you guys try this one out at home. Alright, so those were all the projects for today's video. Which one was your favorite? Let me know in the comments down below. Obviously, like I mentioned in the beginning of this video, my favorite definitely has to be the plant vase. And look how freaking cute it is. I am obsessed with how this came out. I've never seen a pot have this little window so you can watch the roots grow. And I think if I were to do this project again, I would try spray painting it just to get an even coat. And then even maybe try doing like a circle window. I think that would look so cute. And luckily I do buy these reed diffusers all the time from Target because it's the best scent ever. So I will definitely be making more of these little guys. I'm just so obsessed with it. I also just really love the color palette that I went with. I'm definitely going to try this in different colorways. So I'll be sure to post pictures on Instagram when I make more of these. If you guys recreate this project, please tag me on Instagram. I really love seeing everyone's projects on there. It just makes me so happy and yeah, I love this thing. Before I close out this video, I want to quickly mention that I did sign a lease, so I do have a new home in California. I am moving at the end of the month, so expect a lot of moving content. I've already started planning it out and figuring out the layout. It's a little bit challenging because it is a long, narrow space, so I can't wait to show you guys that. And before I move, I actually am doing a kitchen makeover video, so stay tuned for that. Subscribe if you haven't already. I post every single week. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up if you liked it. Follow me on Instagram if you haven't already. I'm posting on there every single day and I'm sharing more of my moving adventures on there. That is it for today's video. Stay inspired, guys, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!